Our learning target for today is I can determine the central message or lesson in a text. The central message is just the lesson the author is trying to teach you. We can figure out this lesson by following a few steps. First, we ask, what is the problem? Next, we ask, what do the characters do to solve the problem? What do they do about it? Next, we can ask, what lesson does the character learn? And last, what lesson does the author want you to learn? For example, some central messages might be, don't be afraid to try new things. Always tell the truth. Always be kind to others. Don't be a bully. Never give up. Don't steal. Always ask if you want something that is not yours. Treat others the way you want to be treated. One thing we can do real quick is think back to Johnny Appleseed and our story that we read about his 5 lessons. What were those lessons? What was the author trying to teach you? What did the author want you to learn? What did Johnny Appleseed want you to learn? So today we only have 2 vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is constant. Constant means to occur continuously over a period of time. So constant is just when something is happening over and over and over a certain period of time. Our next vocabulary word is mounds. A mound is a heap or raised mass. It could be a pile of earth, it could be gravel, it could be sand, or it could be rocks. So today we're going to read pages 86 through 113 in Going West. As we read, I want you to pay attention to the problems that occur in the story. I want you to focus on how are the characters responding to the problems? What are they doing? And also, what lessons are they learning as they solve the problem? The next day, we began. Papa took the horses and rode away. When he came back, he brought logs from the creek. For many days, he worked. Slowly, with Mama helping, he built walls, a roof, a door. Finally, he took Mama's rocking chair and set it next to our new fireplace. It was only one room with a dirt floor, but at least we slept in a house again. Mama planted a garden. Jake carried water from the creek to do the washing. I minded the baby and swept the dirt floor and helped Mama hang check curtains on the window. There, she said, we are ready for visitors. But no visitors came. We were alone on the vast prairie. Papa rode away again, many miles to town. For 3 long days we watched and waited. And then Papa came back. He brought flour and bacon and 6 sheep that he traded for one of the horses, and a surprise. Real white sugar. Mama baked a cake, and it reminded me of home. Summer came. A hot wind blew. Papa went out hunting for rabbits, and Jake and I picked blackberries next to the creek. Mama lay down in the grass with the sheep. Oh my, she sighed when we found her. This is a lonesome land. Day after day, the sun beat down, baking our little house, shriveling up the plants in the garden. It was so hot that nothing moved, not even the wind. If only we had a tree for shade, said Mama. One afternoon, when Jake and I were at the creek, dark clouds suddenly covered the sun. Thunder rumbled and lightning flashed. We ran for home. But before we got there, hail came tumbling out of the sky, big and round and hard as marbles. Quick, I shouted, the buckets. We put them over our heads and kept running. Mama was waiting at the door. Thank goodness you're safe, she said. When the storm was over, Mama's garden was squashed flat. The land is good, she said, but the weather is hard. Never mind, said Papa. In the spring, we will plant again. Mama was frying donuts, and Jake and I were doing our lessons on the dirt floor when visitors finally came. Indians. Jake hid under the bed. I crept behind the rocking chair, my knees trembling with fright. They looked so fierce. But Mama smiled. She gave one of the Indians a donut. The Indian smiled. Mama kept on making donuts, and the Indians kept on eating donuts until Papa came home. And then the Indians went away. The wind turned cold. Mama stored up potatoes and berries and nuts for the long winter to come. Papa went hunting for deer. He came back with Mr. Swenson. Mr. Swenson stayed for supper, and afterward he played his flute while Mama sang, sitting around the fire. And suddenly the prairie wasn't empty anymore. We had a neighbor. "Do they have Christmas out here?" Jake asked, and I wondered too. But Mama said, "Of course." So we hung our stockings by the chimney. Rebecca got a cup and Jake a whistle, and I found Nellie, a rag doll with yellow braids. Later, we had wild turkey for dinner, and Mama opened the jam she had been saving all year. And everything was just like Christmas. Now, the icy wind seeped through cracks in our log walls. We put on all the clothes we had and huddled next to the fire. One morning, it was so cold that Mama's fresh baked bread was frozen and solid. And then it began to snow. It snowed for 3 days and 3 nights. Papa tied a rope from the house to the stable so he could feed the animals. Jake and I did our lessons, and Mama helped me sew on my quilt, and we all listened to the wind howling outside. At last, everything grew still. Looking out, we saw no woodpile, no stable, no sky, nothing but snow drifting up to the roof of our little house. It was a long, cold winter. We had nothing to eat but potatoes and hard biscuits and nuts. Rebecca cried because she was hungry. And one day, Mama counted the potatoes and said, "There are only 6 left." But then slowly, the snow began to melt. Each day, the drifts under our window grew smaller. Papa took down his rifle and went hunting again. And that night, the smell of rabbit stew made our house warm once more. One morning, when the grass was turning new green, Papa said, "It's planting time." He hitched our horse to the plow and broke through the tough prairie grass to the dark, rich soil beneath. For days, he worked, plowing long, straight rows. Then Mama dropped in seeds, and Jake and I covered them up. The warm sun shone. The seeds sprouted, and all around us, as far as my eyes could see, was our farm. So, in what ways do we learn about the courage and strength of Papa? On page 113, the text says, "He hitched our horse to the plow." What does the word hitched mean? How do you know? Authors have a central message or lesson that they want to express. The author of Going West does not directly state the central message, but readers can infer or figure it out by guessing this message through text details. What do you think the central message is in Going West? What details did you find that support the central message?